Welcome back to Modified Fate. We're on episode 4. I definitely didn't title the last one episode 4. This one is Future Sight, which is a tome trigger on a defense and willpower resist duel. When successful, you name a suit, the attacking model reveals their control hand and discards a card of the named suit. I'm joined, as usual, by Crop Circles and Kuro.
Yay.
Hola.
So anything new happened this week in Malifaux?
You just want to rub in the fact that you like squashed me yesterday real hard.
I lost to Kuro.
You rage quit a game and then you squashed me. You rage quit a game. Were we even through the first round?
No, it was that bad.
It was bad. It was bad. So, and Kuro and I played a game at the game store, the new game store in town, which was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I really part of me just wants to buy one of those tables they have because I'm like, oh, this is perfect for everything I want to do. It's not fancy.
Yeah, I like my table. It's tiny.
That's fair too.
But I was actually talking about all the new book spoilers that came out this week. Any specific model you like more than the others?
Bash. All about Bash.
All about Bash.
The only way I might play Tina again.
I mean, let's be honest. Giant albino alligator is a win, and then he actually seems pretty good. Honestly, since I've pretty much just been playing Yorami and Forgotten, the 4 models that actually apply to those crews, I'm excited for all of them. They're good. They're real good. They give me, what I love is that they give me things like new things. It's not just here's the same but different. They actually give me some new play, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially the Strange Lady. Holy crap.
Yeah. And I'm all about Athana and the Weirdwood right now. But we'll go over them more once they're actually in the app so that we can show you guys. The keyword we're going to go over today is one that I'm taking to Adepticon and one that Crop royally hates.
Literally, I've said this before, but I have no idea why, but I cannot beat them. Doesn't matter. Cannot beat them.
It is Savage. There's a bunch of giants.
A bunch of very Greek giants.
Yep, they're headed by Euripides. I'll just start diving into his card. All the models, almost, have the old ways, which is when the model performs a duel without any fate modifiers. It may suffer 1 damage to flip the card for that duel from its discard pile instead of the fate deck. Once this duel is resolved, the flipped card is placed on the bottom of the model's discard pile. This is the main crux of this crew. Reusing Severes is ridiculous.
Don't act like you don't get a weird look on your face every time the red Joker just happens to be your top card.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing to do is on the last attack one of my opponent's models takes is to use the red Joker defensively and then use it offensively right after that.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
That between that and paying close attention to his initiative, because if you don't discard cards at the start of your turn, you end up with 1 card in your discard pile. And I think there was a turn where you used it was a 13 or the red Joker, I can't remember, but you used it 5 times against me.
Yeah. It's basically if I get a 5 or higher of tomes, and that's the only card in my discard, I go with both my Garyons first. which we'll get to them. But it basically lets them move 12 and be focused 2. Which is good. Then he has Intuition. Start of his activation, he looks at the top 3 and puts them in any order. Then he has Entomb in Ice. After a model within 8 is killed, this model may create an Ice Pillar marker, which is height 4, blocking, impassable, destructible. Into base contact with it. The killed model does not drop any other markers. And then another ability that a lot of the giants have is Hard to Kill. When this model suffers damage, if it has 2 or more health, it may not be reduced to below 1 health.
Which also gets around irreducible.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Totally does.
And then the trigger that I explained for the episode is on Yuri 1. Then he has...
I mean, and his stat line is, other than the fact that he's height 4, or size 4, his stat line is pretty solid. Nothing stand out, but nothing bad.
Yep. He has 14 hit points, just like Kira's Bash. Defense 5, willpower 6, move 5, and size 4, which is the tallest in the game. Then his only attack action is his huge honkin' fist. 1 inch melee, 6 stat versus defense, target suffers 3, 4, 6. Tome trigger to add a blast to the damage.
Sweeping Strike is a great trigger.
Mask trigger to rake the eyes. Choose a suit. Target must reveal the top 3 of its fate deck and discard any of the suit. Place them back in any order. And then we get into the good parts about him.
The plethora of tactical actions.
Yeah. So the first one is Rune Etched Ice, 8 inches, 6 tome stat, with a target number of 12 tome stat. Create an ice pillar anywhere within range, then other models within 2 of 1 or more ice pillars created this way must each pass a 14 target number move duel, or suffer 2 damage. Then the double tome is when resolving, create 2 ice pillars within range. And then the mask, push models damaged by this action 3 inches away from the marker. Very, very good.
Yeah, no, I mean the triggers are solid. The action's good. Especially with
high.
what comes next.
And then
like the next 2.
Glacial Shove, 2 inch range, 6 stat, need a 4 to pass. Target an ice pillar, push the target 10 inches in any direction. If the push is interrupted, other models within pulse 1 of the marker must each pass a target number X move duel, where X is equal to this action's final duel total, or suffer 2 damage. And then it has the blown back trigger on it as well. Just throws giant pillars at people.
Pillar bowling.
And then the bonus action is 8 inch range, stat 5, need a 7 or higher to pass. Target an ice pillar within range. Enemy models within pulse 2 of the target must pass a 14 move duel or gain distracted +1. Willpower duel, yep. And then it has the ram for shattering surprise. Place this model into base with the ice pillar, then remove the target.
I mean, the cool part there is he can do that. Like, you can do that defensively too. Like, you don't have to. If all you need to do is move him, then a 7 ram will get you an 8 inch movement if you have to get him away from people too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use it not offensively though.
No. Like that's fair. I'm just saying that if, like, I guess the end result is it's 8 inches of movement, and there's a lot of things you can use that for. Like, I mean, if nothing else, he could scheme reflected visage scheme.
Well, it's a bit more than 8, yeah. Because the ice pillar could be 8. What?
Yeah, the ice pillar's at 8, and then he could place on the other side of it.
Yeah, so it's like 13-ish.
He-
12-ish, yeah.
Yeah, so he could do protected territory.
Yeah. Which we know is all you need to win. And then his second version is much more controlling, not as beat facey. He gained a defense, so he's 6 defense, 6 willpower, 5 move, still size 4. He lost 2 hit points, so he's only 12. And then blood markings. When a friendly savage model within 10 or a 10, so it includes himself, suffers damage, this model gains a rune token. He can only hold 3 rune tokens. He gains rune tokens even when they use old ways, which is very important. And then another keyword ability that will appear on a bunch of models is Frozen Vigor. At the end of this model's activation, if it is within Aura 2 of an ice pillar, it gains shielded +1 and heals 1. Which, if they're at 1 from hard to kill, makes them basically immune to 1 hit. And then Crop's favorite ability. Once per activation, before a friendly savage model would within Aura 10 performs a duel, this model may discard a rune token to reveal 2 cards from either fate deck and discard any number of non-jokers revealed. And then he has the old ways. So he's flipped this time. He has mostly attack actions and 1 tactical. His Bloody Fist is range 2, melee. 6 versus defense, target suffers 2/4/5. If the target is an enemy model, gain a rune token. With a ram for drink blood, he heals equal to the damage suffered. And then Aetheric Gaze, projectile, 10-inch range, 6 mask versus defense. Discard up to 2 rune tokens. This action ignores cover. Target suffers 2/3/5 damage. The target suffers plus blast damage equal to the rune tokens discarded to take this action. And you need to at least discard 1 for the trigger that's built in. Icy Refraction. Take this action again, targeting a different model, drawing range and line of sight from an ice pillar touching a blast dropped by this action.
And so it has the potential to be a lot of blasts. A lot of blasts.
Up to 6 shots per turn. Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Then his ability that I need to use way more often. Avalanche, 6-inch range, 6 ram versus move with a target number of 10. Push the target up to 5 inches in any direction, ignoring models and terrain. Enemy models within pulse 2 of the target must pass a target number 13 move duel or suffer 1 damage for each model or terrain piece moved through this way to a max of 3. Then the ram trigger that's built in. Discard any number of rune tokens. The target heals an equal amount. What I started doing with this is dropping his ice pillars and then avalanching enemy models to the other side of the ice pillars. Pretty effective.
So something that I know from having a almost entirely incorporeal crew, since he can push them across terrain, like you can have things to block line of sight or whatever, and then you can just pop your models out there to do things, especially when you have a bunch of guys with 2-inch reach, which we'll get to, and a bunch of like other things that you don't want to be near them, and they can just kind of pop out from behind terrain, even if they don't run over you. Simply being able to ignore blocking terrain is pretty big. So,
And then his amazing bonus action, Absolute Zero. 10-inch range, stat 7, need a target number 10. Create an ice pillar within range. This model may remove any number of other markers within pulse 2 of the drop marker to have savage models within pulse 4 of a dropped marker. Heal 1 for each marker removed. Then with the tome, When resolving, before each marker is removed, create an ice pillar and base contact with it. I think the highest I've gotten is 4 so far with this. So I drop 1 ice pillar and it pops 4 more around it, and then all my savages heal for 4. It's very strong.
Probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
At least it's a bonus action. If it was a full action, it'd be riots in the streets.
I'm sure it could be a full action as long as it once per.
So let me get this straight. You're going to stun Euripides, and he's going to take that action 3 times.
Oh, you still can't do that because it's still a bonus action.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But then you wouldn't get the trigger either.
The trigger? That's true.
Right.
No, he's like the first Euripides is very straightforward, and the second Euripides is just toolboxy. He's just got lots of stuff for all the things.
And you don't really necessarily see it until you see it on the table.
You don't see it until every time you do something, he says, wait, I've got something for that. And it's like, oh, sure you do.
But what if we didn't do that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And then his totem, which I've heard called the most killed model in the game.
It's pretty damn good.
Is defense 4, willpower 4, move 5, size 2. It's got the old ways, it's got frozen vigor, it's got arcane reservoir, which increases his max hand size by 1, and then he's incorporeal. He reduces all damage this model suffers from attack actions by 1 to a minimum of 0. He also ignores terrain, hazardous terrain, and can move through other models and vice versa. And then he has a 0-inch range, stat 4 versus defense. Target suffers 2/3/4 damage with a tome trigger for surge. So if you have a 1 of tomes in your opening hand, you can use it to draw a card by attacking your own dude.
Now, attacking your own dude's going to get you a rune token too, isn't it?
Yep.
Fair.
Yeah, of course it is.
And then his tactical actions, which is what you're mostly bringing him for, and the Arcane Reservoir.
I was going to say, that's a lie. You're bringing him for Arcane Reservoir. Everything else is gravy.
Yeah. He's also not insignificant, which is very important.
Yeah, which is... wow.
So he's sheer cold, range 8, stat 5, need a target 12, target nice pillar. Non-savage models with impulse 2 of the target suffer 1 damage. Tome trigger, remove all scheme, corpse, and scrap markers with impulse 2 of the target. I don't think I use this very much, just rarely when people are clustered.
Well, in my experience, every game we played, you use this in one round. There's one round where things have finally bogged up enough, and you walk him in, and you're like, damage.
Yeah.
So
the trigger, I don't think I've ever used because usually Yuri removes all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're playing the second Yuri, then that trigger seems pretty superfluous.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to have with Yuri 1.
No, you get to double down and make sure they never
get him. Yeah.
Yes, Yuri goes, removes everything. They drop a new scheme marker. Remove it again.
It's your opponent accidentally picked information overload. Well,
I'm
guess what?
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then his bonus action, form given to Winter. It's range 6, stat 5, need a 10. Friendly savage only. Until the end phase, the target gains the following ability, Incorporeal. I can talk.
Okay.
And he's 30 millimeter, which I didn't say on Yuri. He's 50 millimeter, so he's a big boy. Then his lone henchman is 9 cost, 6 defense, 5 willpower, move 6, and he's size 3. He has the old ways, he's got intuition, he's got hard to kill, he's got frozen vigor. All things that Yuri had. And then,
Name the model.
huh?
Name the model.
What?
You just said henchman. You didn't say his name.
Oh, I said Thune, I thought.
I didn't hear it, but go ahead.
The chat will back me up.
Don't back him up, Brand. Don't do it.
He's got shifting ice. At the start of his activation, he may push an ice pillar marker with an aura 4 up to 3 inches in any direction, which is most commonly used by me to shove a Cult Geist forward. Then his attack actions. He's got chain wrapped fists that are 1 inch melee, 6 stat versus defense. Target suffers 246. Ram trigger, defensive reflexes, he gains shielded 1. Tome trigger, which is what everybody takes Thune for. Once per turn, enemy only. Create an ice pillar into base contact with the target. Then, if a marker was dropped this way, bury the target. If the ice pillar marker is removed, unbury the target into base contact with the marker before it is removed. So he can just freeze things.
Yeah, I hate that guy. Here's the thing. Most of the big heavy beaters that I have played are def 4 or 5. So this guy just walks up with a stat 6, freezes them, and then one of your other guys pulls the ice pillar away, and I never get it back.
Yep.
So then you're down 8 to 10 points, and then if Thune does it again, it's pretty much a game loss.
Yeah, I think I did it to your Peacekeeper and Melissa Core that one game.
So I was down 18 points from 2 attack.
Yep. Then he has a trap of a hooked chain. Projectile 8 inches, 7 stat versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3, 4 damage. Push the target up to 3 inches towards this model with a mask trigger to give staggered.
I guess that's only usable if you want to pull them into charge range?
Yeah.
Well, he can charge and hit them 7 inches away. He can walk and shoot this for 14. But if you're just looking at both raw, it's 1 inch further. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a trap. I think I skipped the crow trigger on his fist also. It's a drain magic, target discards a card. This model can filter a card, draw a card, discard a card. You were saying, Crump, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, the thing is, there are a lot of instances where staggering someone is very useful. That's the only real reason I think you want to pay attention to the hook chain, because that's not the moneymaker, obviously.
No, but stat 7 is still stat 7.
Yeah, a stat 7 to pull someone out of position can be really useful. So.
And then the action I used to pull the Peacekeeper Ice Pillar away. Arctic Pull, 8 inches, stat 6, target number 10. Target an Ice Pillar marker, push the target 8 inches towards this model. The push is interrupted. Other models within pulse 1 of the marker must each pass a target number X move duel, where X is equal to this action's final duel total, or suffer 2 damage. And then the mask trigger is bump, push any model into base contact with the marker 8 inches towards this model. Each model pushed this way gains distracted +1. So you can pinball into something to pull it towards him.
Yeah, he's just bad.
Then he's got Kuro's favorite bonus action. 2-inch range, target a corpse marker, create an ice pillar, then remove the target. How many times have you ever used that bonus action in December?
I don't have that in December.
I thought that was
They have
I think
whatever.
they have a bunch
Grim
of like
Feast.
heat corpses.
Grim Feast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Grim Feast. They eat corpses to heal, which is pretty much never a thing because December models just die.
Yeah. And then we'll go to the Damned, which is also a Seeker model. 8 cost, 5 defense, 5 willpower, 5 moves, size 3. Chronicle Betrayal. Once per activation, after another model within Aura 6 heals, enemy models within Pulse 1 of it suffer 1 damage. And that triggers quite often because they all have Frozen Vigor, if I can keep my Damned alive.
Oh, and also if you charge something that has regen,
Against me.
that'll trigger again, so that's nice.
Yeah.
No, it's like I was telling him, I was like, you talk about if your dam survives, but I have never killed it, and Kiro
I've killed
always
it
kills
every
it.
game.
So it evens out to it lives half the time.
That's fair. So he's got the old ways like all the others. Instead of hard to kill, he's hard to wound, which is a fake defensive ability. And then he's unimpeded. And toss the scraps away after this model kills an enemy model with a melee action. 1 friendly model within Aura 6 heals 2. Then he's Ferocious Claws. 1-inch melee, stat 6 versus defense. Target suffers 246. Push the target 2 inches in any direction.
Kill that. Oh, sorry. I'm just
The
looking at
Baki?
it now. I'm like, how did you not kill that? What's it? What was it?
Gaki, yeah.
Gaki. Yeah, like we had a Gaki and the Damned in combat for 3 rounds at least, and the Damned just couldn't kill it. And looking at that attack, I have no idea how I lived.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cheese's models don't kill things if it matters.
Yeah, they only do it the game after they fail to kill Shang for 3 turns. Then he's Crit Strike. When resolving, the target suffers +1 damage for each ram in the action, up to max of 2. Mask Trigger for Pouncing Strike. Place this model into base contact with another model within 5 inches and line of sight. Then take this action again, targeting that enemy model. Which he could actually use that one. Not if he kills the model, which is good. Because it doesn't target the model he targeted.
Yeah.
Then he's Breath of Frost, which is a 6-inch range, stat 5 of Tomes versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3 blast, 4 blast damage. Models damaged by this action gain staggered. Then the built-in tome is Frozen Earth. When resolving, instead of dropping blast markers for this action, this model may create an equal number of ice pillars in base contact with the target.
I have literally never seen you pull that off.
I did it to crop once.
Yeah.
And it
I was
was
gonna say it's one of those things that's not useful a lot of the time. But when it is useful, it's yeah.
I think I did it when I was doing the GG3 scheme to make 10 ice pillars on your side.
Yeah, I think so.
Load them up or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called now. But yeah. Then he's got bonus action leap, 6-inch range, 4 of masks, need a target number of 10 of masks. Place this model anywhere within range. He jumps.
It's what lets him deliver a message.
Yeah. He's also 9 hit points for 8 cost, which is extremely good. And he's
9 hit points, 8 cost, hard to wound. That's solid.
He's 40 millimeters. Thune was 50. I forgot to mention. So if Thune's a big boy, he's a medium boy.
But they're the same height.
Yep. Then we'll go to Cult Geist, which are minion 3, cost 5, defense 5, willpower 5, move 4, size 2, 5 hit points, 30 millimeter base. They're armor 1, which I think is the only armored model in this crew. They have Frozen Vigor and then Frostbite. When an enemy model with slow within aura 4 would gain slow again. It instead suffers 1 damage after resolving the action. Then Icy Form. Other friendly models treat this model as an ice pillar. If it would be removed this way, it instead suffers 2 irreducible damage. And then he is a Hard Slam, 1-inch melee, stat 5 versus defense. This model may lower the value of its shielded condition by any amount. Target suffers 1, 2, 4 damage. For each point of shielded that this model lowered, the target suffers an additional damage, up to 2. Then they have Jagged Ice, which I actually finally used for the first time recently. Target an ice pillar, 8-inch range, stat 4, target of 10. Enemy models within pulse 1 of the target must pass a 13 move duel or suffer 1 damage and gain staggered. With a tome trigger to give slow and a ram trigger to teleport like Yuri 1 does. And then their real money action is their bonus action, Icy Winds, Pulse 2, Stat 4, Target 10. This action may draw range and line of sight from any one ice pillar with an 8, in addition to drawing range and line of sight from this model. Friendly December or Savage models within range may push up to 3 inches in any direction, with a ram trigger to gain shielded.
And the hilarious part is, if you have nothing else, if you have 2 Called Geists, they can bounce this off of each other.
Mm-hmm. And then they also get Frozen Vigor off of each other.
Yep.
All in all, I don't use them very often because I've replaced them with Tuco in my lists.
As you should.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I kill Tuco every game now.
Tuco is the man.
As you should.
Tuco, the reason I'm gonna get Dr. Silas. Yes. Then his other 5-cost minion is also minion 3, 5 health, 5 defense, 4 willpower, 6 move, size 2, 30mm base, hard to kill, the old ways. Then they have Deadly Pursuit. During the end phase, this model may push up to 4 inches. And then they have Favorable Terrain. This model is unaffected by severe terrain. While this model is in severe terrain or within 1 inch of impassable terrain, it has cover. Then their melee is a Brutal Blade, 1-inch melee, stat 5.
That they're carrying in their mouth.
Yeah, this one is. Yeah. Stat 5 versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3, 4. The mask for coordinated attack. After another friendly model may take a melee action targeting the same model. And then the crow trigger is pick their bones. After killing, this model may take the interact action after resolving the current action.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Since I've used pick the bones twice now, but it was with my Nephilim, it's a very good trigger.
I will say, coordinated attack seems a little weird, but you have to also remember that there are several models in other than Euripides that have 2-inch reach. So, like, he can actually swoop in and help someone out, and they can cover a big area. So,
well, and you have a lot
attack is great
between the Avalanche and Callgeist.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Positioning.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's got.
Granted, last time we played, all this guy did was run into a corner and
score points, yeah.
Earn points. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, they're very
just
fast.
Earn points.
Then he's tossing the bud, range 2, stat 5 versus defense with a target number of 12. Push the target 2 inches in any direction, then end one condition on the target. That's their real utility in Yuri's crew. And then their bonus action, Homeward Bound, range 2, no check. Choose a friendly terrain marker in play. Remove target scheme marker. Create the chosen terrain marker in base contact with this model.
Good. And I appreciate the funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bonus action scheme removal is always good.
I wouldn't
Well,
know.
especially when it gives you something too.
Yeah.
So
I would not know.
Everything left is minions. So this is also minion 3, the Lysa. Cost 4, defense 5, willpower 5, move 5, size 2, 30mm base, 4 hit points. Incorporeal, frozen vigor, misery, which is once per activation after an enemy model within Aura 6 gains stunned or the condition listed in this model's opportunist ability. This model may either move it up to 2 inches or have it suffer 1 damage. And then its
I did not feel like it. Oh, go ahead.
Then its opportunist is staggered before performing an opposed duel. This model may end the stunned or staggered condition on the opposed model to receive a plus to that duel. You didn't realize you could move with misery?
No, I didn't realize they were also savage. I knew they were woe, but
Oh, yeah.
that's obnoxious.
Then they have claws, which are range 1 with a 4 crow stat versus defense. Target suffers 1-4 damage. The mask trigger is the target must have stunned. When resolving, the target suffers +1 damage. And then the built-in crow trigger, misdirected rage, enemy only. Target takes a melee or projectile action chosen and controlled by this model. During this action, this model is ignored when determining whether or not the target is engaged.
Gross.
I've done it once. The stat 4 really holds that one back.
With good reason.
Yeah.
Then
Then he has
having the suit built in, yeah, I mean it's definitely one of those terror thing. It's a lot like terrifying. It's like you have to have a card to stop it,
right.
Because if you don't, it's gonna wreck you. So.
Then they have Bring It, which is 12-inch range, stat 5 versus willpower with a target number of 13. Target moves its move plus 2 inches towards this model. Then the target must take a melee action that cannot declare triggers targeting this model. If able, any damage flips from the generated action suffer a negative. Bring It's always good.
Lures are good.
Yeah.
In general, like all of the different types are generally good. So.
And then they have Startle as one of their 2 bonus actions. Range 8, stat 4 versus willpower, target gains staggered. And then they have Freeze the Corpse like Thune did.
Very good.
And then we get to the big boys. The Gigants, they're minion 3 as well. Cost 6, 50mm base, 5 defense, 5 willpower, 5 move, size 3. They have the old ways, hard to kill, frozen vigor, arcing shot, which is when this model declares a projectile action, it may discard a card to have that action ignore line of sight and cover. And then their expert shot, this model's attack actions ignore friendly fire. There's 6 hit points. And then their melee, it's a tree trunk, which is 1-inch melee, stat 5 versus defense. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think a single one of their models has a tree trunk in their hand. Target suffers 2-4 damage. Tome trigger, shattering shove, push the target 2 inches in any direction if it comes into base contact with an ice pillar. Remove the ice pillar, then place the target into base contact with any ice pillar.
Gross.
And they also have Pick the Bones as a crow trigger on that.
For strong.
But the reason you bring them is their Thrown Boulder, which is a projectile 8-inch range, stat 6 versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3 blast, 5 blast damage. Push models damaged by this action 2 inches away from this model. With a ram trigger to add a blast and a crow trigger to stun.
Sadly, the crow trigger only goes. You can
The
only stun the
target model.
person you're actually shooting,
Yep.
but stunned is stupid good, so that's still good.
Mhm. So the thing to do with them is you discard a high card so that they ignore line of sight and cover, and then old ways use that card as their ranged attack.
Yeah.
And then they have a bonus action, Cave Drawings, 8-inch range, stat 5, need a target of 10. Target an ice pillar marker until the end phase. Enemy models within aura 2 of the target cannot take the interact or concentrate actions, with a ram trigger to teleport like the Cultgeist and Yuri one. It's very handy.
Man, just thinking about him with the current schemes and strategies, just being able to pop a pillar next to a voting booth
yeah.
or next to the cloak and dagger stuff. It's like, yep, nope, you can't do it. Not gonna let you.
Yeah, it's pretty obnoxious.
Then we have the Cyclops. They are minion 2, 7 cost.
Their art makes it look like they have a spear that they could throw at you, but that's not what's happening. But anyway.
They're also big boys. They're 50 millimeter, 4 defense, 5 willpower, 5 move, 3 size, 8 hit points. They have the old ways, frozen vigor, hard to kill, and they have grit, aggressive. While this model has half of its max health or less, its attack actions receive a positive to their duels.
Ugh.
Then their attack action is massive club, 2-inch melee range, stat 5 versus defense. Target suffers 3/4/5 damage. The tome trigger to add a blast, and a mask trigger to push the target 4 inches. Any direction. But their main use that they often fail at 90% of the time. It's the Ice Pillars action, which is range 12, stat 5, that needs a target 11 tome. Create an Ice Pillar within range. Just build in the tome, please. For the love of God.
Why? You have the old ways. It's fine.
Yeah. And then their actual good action is Frozen Vigor, bonus action, range 6, stat 5, need a 12. Target an Ice Pillar, choose one of the following: a Ruse, friendly models with Impulse 2 of the Ice Pillar heal 1, Hagalaz, enemy models with Impulse 2 of the Ice Pillar take 1, Jera, enemy models with Impulse 2 of the Ice Pillar gain staggered, Fehu, drop a scheme marker into base with the target.
Yeah, no, that bonus action is pretty sexy.
It's real good.
Somebody build in the goddamn tome.
No. They need to have a weakness.
And then the moneymaker of Savage. We have the
The one that
Garyon,
ruins my day.
which are Minion 2, 8 cost, 50 millimeter base, 8 hit points, 5 defense, 5 willpower, 5 move, size 3. The old ways, hard to kill, frozen vigor, extended reach. Enemy models with an aura 2 cannot take attack actions generated by the charge action. Makes them extremely durable. And then their Boulder Fists, which are 2-inch melee range, 6 stat versus defense. Target suffers 3/4/6. The Ram trigger, Heave, place the target anywhere within 3 inches of this model. Tome trigger to add slow. Crow trigger to swallow you whole. After killing the target, does not drop any markers, and this model heals 1, 2, 3. Which I've actually done a surprising amount of that trigger. And then the action we were talking about earlier is Shoulder Rush, stat 5, target number 10, push this model 6 inches in any direction. If this push is interrupted by an ice pillar, push one of those ice pillars away from this model a number of inches equal to the distance this model moved. If this model or the pushed ice pillar marker comes into base contact with one or more other models, those models must each pass a target X move duel where X is equal to this action's final duel total, or suffer 2 damage, with a tome trigger to gain focus +1. That's super wordy.
It's pretty good though.
Yeah, it's very good. And then their bonus action that I have been playing as Pulse 2 for way too long is Reform from Ice. Pulse 4, reading is fundamental. Remove any number of ice pillar markers within range. This model heals 2 for each ice pillar marker removed by this action.
And they're like Ice Golem,
Yep.
but better.
But they have 5 defense and cost 2 less.
Yeah. And 2-inch melee.
Yeah, they're better. I would trade.
These guys, they do all the work. Prop usually celebrates when he kills one.
And that doesn't happen often. I was ecstatic for the one game I killed 2 of them. I mean, I still lost, but I killed 2 of them. Ugh. But yeah, like that combination of Shoulder Rush with Avalanche off of Euripides is pretty great.
Yeah.
So
gets them pretty far up there early on.
Well, and it lets you pinball your ice pillars off of your opponents. There's all sorts of fun stuff there. Mm-hmm. Unless you're the person getting avalanched.
Don't lie to him. You know you like it.
I do fucking not like it.
Some of the versatiles that are good with Yuri. Angel Eyes is good with everybody, so I'll just bring her up now. She's a henchman, versatile, 8 points, 4 defense, 6 willpower, 5 move, size 2. She is Accomplice. After this model ends its activation, a friendly model within 6 that has not activated this turn may discard a card or a pass token to activate. Then she's got Advanced Sights. This model's attack actions ignore concealment and friendly fire. She's disguised. She cannot be targeted by charge actions. She's evasive. She reduces all damage she suffers from shockwaves, pulses, blasts to 0. And then she's got Sniper. When this model takes a projectile action, it may lower the value of its focus condition by 1 to treat the action as having plus 10-inch range. 8 hit points. She has a melee. She has 1 inch, stat 5 with a mask versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3, 4 damage with a ram for drink blood and the built-in mask for move this model up to 3 inches. And then her big damn gun is the Clockwork Rifle, projectile 14 inches, stat 6 versus defense. This action ignores cover. So with her Advanced Sight, she ignores cover, concealment, and friendly fire, which is everything.
Pretty much everything.
Target suffers 2, 3, 5 with a ram for crit strike we had earlier. And then a tome for armor piercing. When resolving damage from this action, ignores armor. She has a bonus action sidearm, which is projectile 6 inch, stat 6 versus defense. Target suffers 2, 3, 3. The Crow trigger, choose a friendly model within pulse 6 of the target. After killing, the chosen model counts as having killed the target instead of this model, or may draw a card. And then a mask trigger for coordinated attack.
I just realized that she can lower her focus to have a 16-inch sidearm.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then her tactical action, point me to them. Stat 5, need a target of 10. Target a friendly model in line of sight with the focused condition. Lower the value of the target's focused condition by 1, then this model gains focused +1. So that
Yep.
primordial magic that can't actually attack things just generates focus for her. And then she ignores the ice pillars because they don't provide cover. Too strong in everything.
She's real strong.
Yep.
The main one I play is Tuco Ortega. 7 cost, versatile. 5 defense, 4 willpower, 5 move, 2 size. Accomplice, evasive. Then he's gunfighter. This model may treat any of its projectile actions as having range of melee 1. Bravado, after this model takes a concentrate action, it may push up to 4 inches towards an enemy model in its line of sight. And then stealth, enemy models cannot target this model from more than 6 inches away, with 7 hit points.
You really need to use the accomplice more often, I think.
Yeah. I don't think I
didn't
ever
even
used
know he
accomplice.
had it.
Yeah. All the half-bloods gained it. Then his custom shotgun is projectile 8-inch range, stat 6 versus defense. Target suffers 2 3 blast, 4 blast damage. The ram to add a blast, a crow to once per activation. When resolving this action's damage flip receives 2 positives. And a mask trigger to give staggered.
But this is different than the one we saw before because this one is anyone damage. So if you actually get like a moderate, you have a chance of staggering multiple people, which is pretty stupid.
Mm-hmm. Especially in a Euripides list.
Yup.
And then he throws dynamite, a projectile 8-inch range, 5 mask stat, and a target of 12. Shockwave 2, move 13 duel for 3 damage with the mask trigger that's built in. Fire in the hole. Immediately, all friendly models within 3 inches of the shockwave marker are pushed 3 inches away from it. It's a better, bigger push than the Cultgeist, in my opinion.
I mean, the model itself is better, so yes.
Yeah. Cultgeist doesn't actually do any work. Compared to Tuco.
Cultgeist, oh my gosh. Cultgeist get to pulse twice with their ability, so.
Yeah. And then he's got the bonus action Dissolution, 6-inch, 6 stat versus willpower, enemy only, move the target up to its move in inches, with a mask trigger to give distracted, and a tome trigger to draw 2 cards and discard a card.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah. Tuco's just really good now. He doesn't get enough love.
The key to Tuco is go after his brain. Yeah. But you have to go after his brain from really close.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a lot of the crazy survival tricks that the other stuff has, but in Euripides, you're counting on them to hold people in place for him.
Yeah. And evasive helps keep them alive too.
Yeah. Yeah. Evasive and stealth, like so it takes effort to really get to him until he can at least throw dynamite on you. So
yeah, and if you're staggered, it's a move 15 duel, which is ridiculous.
It's kind of rough.
More than kinda.
Another one I've seen people use is the Doppelganger. She's 8 points, versatile, 5 defense, 5 willpower, 6 moves, size 2. She's manipulative. If this model has not yet activated this turn, enemy attack actions that target this model suffer a negative to their duel. She's Don't Mind Me. She can interact while engaged, or if she has taken the disengage action, this activation. She's disguised like Angel Eyes. She has following orders, which I can only trigger with coordinated attack in this list, in this crew. After this model resolves an attack and resolves an action taken outside of its activation generated by a model with cost higher than it, this model may draw a card. She's 8 hit points. She has a 0-inch melee, stat 5 versus defense, staggering punch, target suffers 2-3-4 and gains staggered. The crow trigger for no witnesses. This trigger may only be declared if no other enemy model other than the target is within 12 inches and line of sight of this model. When resolving the action, the target suffers +1 damage, and the damage from this action ignores armor. Then she has a lure, 12-inch, stat 6, willpower, target number 12. Move the target it's moved toward this model. The tome trigger, when resolving, the target suffers 2 damage. And a mask trigger for reposition. Move this model up to 3 inches. She has bonus action Mimic, which is 6-inch range, stat 7, need a target 12. Select one of the target's non-bonus actions that does not attach an upgrade or list a model by name. Non-master only. Until the end phase, this model may treat the selected action and its triggers as though it were printed on this model's card. The stat for the action is considered to be equal to the stat for this action. With a crow trigger, target must discard a card or suffer 3 damage. Importantly, she can mimic her own staggering punch to have a stat 7 instead of stat 5. But they usually mimic Thune's punch so they can freeze 2 models a turn.
Wouldn't be bad to mimic Tuco either.
Yeah. Or Angel Eyes, yeah. Then her other bonus action is Blend In, no check, discard a card until the end phase. This model has concealment.
I was just thinking, you mentioned move 15 duels with the staggered. Like, if you just copy that and do it again.
Yeah, true.
Just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shockwaves get dramatically better the more of them you have, simply because you're going to run people out of resources.
Yeah, they're either going to fail or they're going to empty or both.
Mm-hmm.
One than the other. Not that I talk from experience.
And then I think the last one is Serena Bowman. 8 points, versatile, 5 defense, 5 willpower, 5 move, size 2, 6 hit points. Feed on Fear. After an enemy model within this model's engagement range fails a willpower duel, this model heals 1. She's disguised, and she has Demise Eternal. Once per turn after this model is killed, it may discard a card. If it does so, it heals 4. She has Horrific Reality, 1-inch melee, stat 6 versus defense. This action may draw its line of sight and range from any friendly nightmare within 8. Target suffers 2-3-4 damage. The Ram trigger, another model other than this model within 3 inches of the target, heals 1-2-3. And a mask trigger pulled here and there, push either this model or the target up to 3 inches. And then Twist Reality, projectile 8-inch range, stat 5 versus either defense or willpower. It's your choice. And this action ignores friendly fire. Target suffers 2-3-4 damage, ignoring armor and incorporeal. The Crow trigger is Drain Magic. Target discards a card, and this model may draw a card and discard a card. And then the Tome trigger is enemy only. Place the target within 6 inches of its current location. And then the real reason you would take her in Euripides is her bonus action, Bottle of Painkillers. 3-inch range, stat 6, need a 10. Friendly only, target heals 1-2-3 and may end a condition. With a mask trigger to take the action again, targeting a different model.
And just to be clear, don't undersell the fact that she has a hole in the world that can target 2 different stats. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Ignoring
But-
armor and incorporeal.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, dropping someone 6 inches from their current location is stupid.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's like, oh wait, look, you have 6 defense but 4 willpower. Well, we're going after your brain, and now I'll drop you off a cliff, figuratively speaking. But yeah, bottle of painkillers is sexy. I have it on nurses. I love nurses.
Mhm.
I wish my nurses could use it multiple times a turn. So I see the appeal.
Yeah. I guess you could probably use Vasilisa too. Now that I think about it. So Vasilisa is an 8 cost versatile. She's defense 6, willpower 6, 5 move, size 2, armor 2, tangled threads during the start phase. Enemy models with an aura 2 of a friendly puppet gain staggered. Friendly models that start their activation with an aura 3 gain +1 move until the end of their activation. She has Scoop Up. When this model declares a walk action, it may choose a friendly puppet with lower size within 2 inches. If it does so after this model has resolved the walk action, place the chosen puppet into base contact with this model. She's got 7 hit points. She has a Needle and Thread, 0-inch melee, stat 7 versus defense. When targeting a model with staggered, this action ignores any negatives to its duel and damage flip. Target suffers 1-4 damage and must either discard a card, or until the end phase, it cannot declare actions printed on its stat card. And then a ram trigger, can't breathe, target must have staggered. When resolving, the target suffers +2 damage. Tome trigger, dismantle for parts, enemy construct only, drop a scrap marker into base contact with the target. Mask trigger to give staggered. And she has careful assembly, 2-inch range, stat 7, target number X, remove a scrap marker within 2, and name a Neverborn puppet minion. The target number of this action is 10, mask plus the cost of the name model. Summon the name model with slow into base contact with this model. Then a bonus action, field repairs, 3-inch range, stat 6, target 12, construct only, target heals 1-3, the mask to target heals 2 additional. And then the reason I would think about bringing her in Euripides, besides the staggered stuff, is her pulling the strings bonus action. Stat 6, range 6, stat 6, target 12, target 14. I can read. This model,
Start up.
this model may remove a scheme marker within 3 inches of the target. Friendly minion only. Target takes an action. Then if a scheme marker was not removed when this action was declared, kill the target during the end phase. So she can just make one of my minions take an extra action if they're next to a scheme marker.
Well, and it's within 3 inches, so it can be a scheme marker 9 inches away from her.
Yeah.
And you can remove your own, or you can remove theirs. Like, there's a lot of flexibility there. So.
Yep. And the auto stagger during the start phase, pretty strong.
Well, so can't breathe is a really great trigger.
Yeah. Puts her at 3, 4, 6.
Yeah. 3, 4, 6 is a great damage line. So Needle and Thread is a really obnoxious attack too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's about it, really. I guess Wicked Dolls, but not really. Out of keyword, I would always recommend Candy.
I would always ban Woe.
Yeah, because Yuri can double avalanche her forward. She is a 8 cost henchman for the Woe keyword, so she's going to cost 9. She has 5 crow defense, 6 willpower, 5 move. She's size 1. So she hides amongst his crew very well. Then she's manipulative, like the doppelganger. She has corrupted innocence, which is her main draw. If this model has not yet activated this turn, enemy models that start their activation with an Aura 4 must each discard a card and gain stunned.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that this is not an either or is insane.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every other ability like it I've seen is either or.
Yep. No choices here.
She just gets it for free on a manipulative henchman.
With a disarming defense willpower trigger. When resolving, if the attacking model did not declare triggers, if they're stunned, reduce the damage this model suffers by 2.
Yeah, she is all kinds of busted.
And then her opportunist is
Oh, you go ahead.
Her opportunist is fast. Before performing an opposed duel, she may end the stunned or fast condition on the model to receive a positive to that duel. Her misery is the same as the Lysa, but she can do damage when they gain fast also. So you activate within 4 of her, you discard a card, and she miseries to damage you 1 when you gain stunned.
Or move you 2 inches, whichever is more beneficial.
Then her attack action is Self-Loathing, range 10, stat 6 versus willpower. Choose one of the target's non-shockwave attack actions. This action gains the effect, cost, and any special restrictions of the chosen action, enemy only. With a mask trigger, hopelessness, target must have stunned. When resolving, the target suffers +1 damage. I used this on a Guardian once to hit him for 7 damage. It was awesome. Huh? You cut out. Her only bonus action is Glimpse of Insanity, 8-inch range, stat 6 versus willpower. Target gains stunned with a mask trigger for on your heels. Enemy only, place this model into base contact with the target. And then Crow Trigger, target suffers 2 damage and gains fast, which will also trigger her misery and opportunist. And then since you're activating within 4 of her temper tantrum of Pulse 4, stat 6, target 10. Enemy models within range must pass a 14 willpower duel or gain slow. Then the mass trigger is enemy models with an aura 4 of this model must each pass a 14 willpower duel or be pushed 4 inches away from this model. And then she has Goodie Basket, which is 2-inch range, stat 5, target 10, other model only, target heals 1, 2, 3. The Ram to heal this model 2, and a Crow to target suffers 2 damage and gain fast. He's easily one of the best models in the entire game.
Yeah.
She heals, she fasts my stuff, she slows your stuff, she stuns your stuff, she makes you discard cards.
Yeah, she's of the point where I'm like, if you don't pick her, why?
Uh-huh. And then her attack action copies your best attack action.
Yeah.
Joke's on you. I have guard. No, I'm just kidding.
Again, if you're using it on one of their beaters, their willpower is probably garbage, so you're going to hit them really hard.
Archie is scared of her.
Archie is not.
He can't gain conditions, but like
he can punch himself. Yeah.
Archie's attack is a 3, 4, 6 damage.
She can easily 2-shot him.
Yeah, that's like he's not afraid of anything else but the self-loathing in and of itself.
Oh, and she can do 2 damage with her bonus action to him too.
Oh yeah, because she can just burn him. Yep. I mean, or she can on your heels him.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't care about most of this, but he cares about self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's just a good target for her to port to in the first place.
I mean, that's also
Are so
true.
low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, other than that, I think that covers Savage.
Yeah.
Does have
I mean, I've
anything
already
else you
said
want to
it.
talk
I
about?
hate them. I can't seem to win on them. So
I think Euripides' bonus action to remove markers is probably my most least favorite thing in the keyword.
Yeah, especially this GG.
yeah. 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 No, it does feel silly when it's just okay, it does this. And then it does this. And then it does this.
And
It's like, well,
then
you tell me when it's done doing things, because it just seems to keep doing things. But I mean, honestly, I just know that every time he runestones me, it takes my deck from being decent probability to I got a 3. It's like every time. Every time. I got a 3.
It is
So
satisfying to get a high card and a low card when you do a rune token. I'm not seeing any listener questions, so I think that'll do it for us this time.
I got no.
Okay. We might be back next week. I'm not sure yet.
hopefully. But we'll see.
Until then, keep it positive. We'll see you next time.